Welcome to the show, everybody. It is so easy to fall head over heels with a new home, with its new everything, and its in-house lender discount of $10,000 towards closing costs or whatever they claim to give you, when you are unaware of how they get to that closing cost discount or whatever else they're promising you. All right, they don't just magically have some special loan company willing to give you 10K while keeping everything else the same. All right, I'll tell you how they trick people with that, as well as a bunch of other things later in this video. Guys, new home sales reps have to understand this. They work for the builder and only have the builder's best interests in mind. All right, they give you manipulative, least transparent pricing. These builders are Fortune 500, S&P label companies. They're real sharks. One of the first things I was told about builders is that builders always go broke. It's a saying. They're often in very desperate situations because their highs are very high and their lows are very low. Buyers like to think that if they go in without an agent, well, the new home sales reps tells them, oh, well, it's more profitable because, then we don't have to pay for the buyer commission agent that you have. But at that point, they're just in total control, and the negotiations are totally one-sided. The contract is really just written for the builder, regardless of whether or not you have your agent with you there or not. But if you bring one, it's going to unlock you thousands of dollars here and there. Guys, the first thing that these people do is they'll offer you these massive buy downs, okay? And they'll build it into the sales price of the home. Well, what do I mean by that? Okay, so let's say, for example, there's a house they're selling that's really worth $400,000, but the shiny rates that they advertise for this house are really cost, like $10,000 to be bought down, that the builder is then paying for, that they have to then schlep back into the sales price somewhere. So let's say the in-house lender offers 6% rate versus the current day's market of about 7%. All right, anytime they're giving you some closing cost discount of X $1,000, it's not to be nice. They do this and they increase the purchase price without telling you for each dollar they give you in credit. And they'll increase the purchase price by more. It's not always dollar for dollar, but let's just say that after this $10,000 buy down to buy the rate from 7 to 6, the builder then lists that home that's really worth $400 at $420, leaving you without a choice to customize your rate and instead take the regular going market interest rate of 7%, buy the house at $400K, and then refinance later when rates come down to get the same rate you were forced to originally buy the house for $20,000 over at, even though they only gave you $10,000 in return for it. Like, you can literally just eventually end up with the same low rate that they're promising you in the future if rates come down for much, much, much less money. Going refinance closing costs are much closer to like 1% of the loan amount. And, they just charge you 10 grand here to pay it down to that amount. Doesn't make sense. And in addition, if that wasn't bad enough, then you have to pay additional mortgage interest on that now larger loan amount, because that loan amount increases with the sales price for now the rest of the time that you have that loan for. Guys, like, this is evil. This is how it works. This is what they do, okay? This is what they do to entice people in with these shiny rates and closing cost deals, okay? If you understand that, then good. But if you don't, call me. This is why I make the channel, okay? It's to help you avoid these traps and get past this poor societal programming around buying a house. And watch my first time buyer playlist too, if you haven't watched that yet. That's going to teach you everything that I would want to know if I didn't know any of this stuff at all. But guys, this pricing structure that they do, you could literally do this for any resale pre-existing home out there that you could buy. You could see a house for $400K and tell the sellers, hey, I don't want to buy this for $400K. I want to buy this instead for $410, but you guys give me back $10,000 in closing cost credit in exchange, like a dollar for dollar, a true exchange. Whereas with the builders, it's not going to be legitimate, truly, dollar for dollar over there, because they're not showing you all the line items that go into it. They're not. They're going to hide certain stuff off of that. Okay, and there's probably other unnecessary items a builder could be hiding in there that they put in your home to jack up the price too that you don't even want. But they don't have this side special complimentary magical loan company that can give you these ridiculously lower rates and closing cost help. Okay, because remember guys, just like I say in episode 5, pretty much every lender in America does almost all their business through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, VA, FHA. Okay, we're all middlemen of them, even these new home builders, because Fannie and Freddie, they have the lowest rates and there's really no getting around that. So you don't focus on monthly payment, you focus on value. They want to sell you on a low rate, a low monthly payment. That's not why you buy a house. Okay, you buy a house because it's well priced and it has good value. It's accessible, the surrounding areas are nice, your commute works. Okay, not because it has a low interest rate. All interest rates are temporary. Guys, you think you're getting into a 30-year fixed rate, but the truth of the matter is that 95 to 98% of all loans are closed out within like 7 or 8 years. That's for refinances, moves, trade ups, cash out refis, you're paying the thing off, all kinds of different reasons. You don't stay in a loan for 30 years. It's not a death sentence like it might seem if you've never done this before. They change, they're malleable, you recast them. You change these over time, you get tax credits. So it's just, this is a massive red flag when builders are parading around that they have these super low monthly payments that are way lower than what a typical mortgage of that amount would be for in these super low rates, okay? So look for purchase price first before taking closing costs and rate help. Again, value of the property. All right, closing costs and rate help just means that they jacked up the price of the home and also jacked up the loan amount that you now have to pay that extra interest on. I can't say that enough. Something else they do is they will lower the price of the house, give you more additions, but take out a standard option that everyone's going to want. Another thing, they'll draw you in with advertising that the base price is down, but the additions go up. It's a wash, and it's just really just distraction tactics to make you think that there's a sweeter deal that they're giving you than someone else. Then something else they're going to do is they're going to offer you additions that aren't even going to appraise for what they say they will. Okay, let's say they offer you some extra package or some sunroom or whatever. They're going to say it's worth 20 grand. They're going to give it to you for only 10 grand, but an appraiser would look at that and say, hey, if there was an extra sunroom in here, oh, well, this would only increase the value of the house by 4 grand. This is all fluff. This is just typical builder tactics. Another thing about these is that once 2 or 3 of these homes appraise, it's a wrap, okay? What I mean by that, builders want the sales prices to be high. Remember how I said in that initial example that house was really only worth $400K, but they sold it at $420? They want these sales prices to be high in the new community at first, so that the next buyers will carry the expectation that that's how much it really has to be paid to get those homes. But the builders will then never show the next buyers how much closing cost assistance they gave them or how much concessions were made to those buyers. That's not public data. And so, there's space that they're forfeiting to keep that sales price high as the builders. But they're only appraising because somebody in that new community, whoever bought the first 1 or 2, they bought with a large down payment to where the low appraisal wouldn't matter, okay? If you go back and run back and see, some of my appraisal videos, you'll see that if you buy a house and have a large down payment, the appraisal coming in low doesn't really matter. So the home will appraise and close at that increased sales price. That might be a little bit, more in depth, but I can always walk you through that over the phone or email anytime. Another thing about these is that these builders, they skimp on locations. In order to make these large communities with a bunch of houses that they can sell, they got to find large plots of land. Well, you're not going to find those close into the city. You got to go far out on the outskirts of town. You can get buyer's remorse on this real quick. After 6 to 8 months, you can be tired of these places. You want to be moving out of the house to somewhere else. Maybe 7 to 10 years later, after you buy in some of these places, right once you're ready to get a new home and trade up and upsize because your family is growing, they finally start developing the area. Well, too little, too late. You buy further out in these ghost towns, home appreciation is going to be slower, okay? The further outside your city location is, the slower it's going to increase in value over time. Closer in, you buy an existing home closer to the city, you're not going to have that issue like you will with these new home builds that are farther out. Location, location, location. That's always true. Last couple things here, delays. Guys, they're going to delay so many of these homes from being deliverable. They do this to compete with everybody else. Okay, they're competing with other new home build communities, and it takes time. It takes a long time for these houses to be built. And so when they know it's going to take, 6 to 8 months, they're going to tell you it's deliverable in 4 to 6 months. The longer out, I see a lot of people think they're going to get a house in a year. It doesn't get delivered until 18 months. The further out it is, the more they're going to lie. But they literally have to do this to try and compete with the other new home communities, because if these other new home communities give an aggressive date that they really know they're not going to make, then the ones that aren't giving those aggressive estimated completion dates are not going to get the sales and the contracts. So it's a vicious cycle on that end. You're going to get lesser materials if you get a new build. Look at the wood. Go research what kind of wood materials that you're getting on a new build versus something that was made 30, 40, 50 years ago. That's just one of the many examples of the lesser materials that they use for you. This is a long-term investment that you're getting, especially with the location, the closing cost stuff. It really rubs me the wrong way. I see what goes on, and I see people come to me all the time like, hey, I'm getting this great deal. And I'm like, I don't want to upset them all, but I know what's really going on. But guys, if you enjoyed that video, please subscribe, give me a like, and share this with one of your friends that is probably going to be purchasing a house soon. And like I said before, watch that first time buyer playlist I have for you to learn all the basics of buying a house that I would have wanted to know if I didn't know anything myself. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you on the next one.